glasses now. Deal with it.
I cover a myriad of subjects in this series, several of which are definitely not designed to make me any friends in the AAA industry. Not many have the potential to piss off my fellow YouTubers though, but this is a concept I've heard talked about a lot lately, so oh well. I know for a fact that not nearly as many people watch my reviews as they do my rants or countdowns, but for those of you that do, you may notice I don't give scores. I don't have anything against people that do use review scores, and I understand their reasoning for doing so, but I also have very strong opinions on why I shouldn't. 3 of them to be exact. Number 1, they oversimplify my opinion. Context is important, especially when you're doing something as complex as a review. Art is subjective, so as I've been taught, a good review goes into concise but conclusive detail as to why you feel the way you do about something. I usually go to great lengths to make sure this happens, including playing the game again after I write my first draft, just in case I left out or forgot anything. Having to take in all of that means I know my audience will have gotten every point I was trying to communicate. They now have several examples to pull from when considering my stance on a game, and in turn, can use that information to decide whether the compliments and concerns I had are as valid to them as they are to me. But when someone just sees a number, all that goes out the window. Numbers are vague, numbers are generalizations, and at worst, numbers can send the wrong message. They remove all that writing I did from the conversation. They ignore the care I took to make sure you understood exactly where I was coming from and why I was coming from it. Without a score, I can make sure you get the whole story and leave my content hopefully much more informed than you might have been otherwise. But if I only told you I gave Metal Gear Solid 5 a 7 out of 10, what does that mean to you? Did I like it? Did I hate it? Did I think it was just okay? And what does that tell you about the quality of that particular game? Chances are your answers to that question are totally different than the ones I'd give, and that leads directly into my second point. Number 2, scores mean different things to different people. If I was using a 10-point scale, I would think a 5 meant the game was exactly average. I would give that score if it had no tremendously good or bad qualities. However, for other people in this community, a 5 is treated like grounds to legally murder someone. A lot of us use the exact same grading system, but in all cases, the meaning behind that grade is totally different. Again, this is an opinion-driven medium. Chances are I hold different qualities in games above others than you do, meaning it's entirely possible you would love a game that I decidedly did not. To that end, it feels almost arrogant for me to make broad general statements like 5 out of 10, like I'm some kind of last word on the subject. I cannot see the world through your eyes. My reviews are my opinion, 2 decades of gaming experience condensed and put into video form so that they might help keep you from regretting a purchase. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend they're more than that. And number 3, I legitimately think that no matter if a score is good or bad, scoring a game has an actively negative impact on the industry. I know I'm gonna sound like a bloody conspiracy theorist during this one, but hear me out. To me, the key word in the discussion of review scores is information. The less information you have on something, the more likely you are to make a mistake involving it. And as I said before, scores remove a great deal of information from the review they're attached to. Companies know this. They know a lot of people will take the easy route given the chance. So instead of reading a 2-page review or an 11-minute long video to get the information they're looking for, they'll simply look at the score. An 85 on Metacritic for the Master Chief Collection doesn't tell you a thing about how utterly broken the online multiplayer was for it, and still is from what I hear. The only information that gives people is, well, that's pretty high, right? I mean, it's green, that's gotta mean it's good. This is why all of these swanky review events exist, why Konami put the Steam version of FIFA into a bundle instead of a normal store page, and why we keep hearing stories of employees getting their bonuses cut if a game doesn't perform above a certain number. Publishers are actively trying to game the system. They're trying to butter up media outlets in these fancy and controlled environments where everything works exactly according to plan. They know that Steam doesn't give scores, and it's trying to hide the smart smarter user reviews that might warn people of legitimate concerns long enough for them to sneak some extra sales in. They're pressuring their own developers to keep this illusion going to take advantage of the fact that most people just don't care. And it's working. My system doesn't have such hang-ups. People watch my reviews because they trust me. They expect me to tell it like it is and lay out all my thoughts on the line bare and unfiltered, as they should, because that's the only thing that's actually useful to them as a consumer. It's in my best interest to be as open and clear as possible with every single person who sees my work, because that's how I build that trust and establish a good reputation. There is no place for this shady corporate nonsense in my content, which is why I don't give them the tools to put it in regardless. My videos are made with you guys in mind. They're produced under the mentality that this is something I'd turn to my info for if I wasn't making it myself. And when I take that in mind, the question doesn't become, why don't I give scores, but rather, why would I ever?
Not totally sure if I'm 100% okay with these things. I mean, it kind of feels like I'm always looking at a computer screen, like I'm not seeing the way the world it's meant to be seen anymore, like it doesn't feel real. But I've been told you get over that after a little while, so I'll make do. Anyways, thanks again for watching this rant this week, and I've got something very special that I'm going to be talking about next week, something that's near and dear to my heart and is probably going to hit home for a lot of you guys as well. So, look forward to that. Until then, I'm Whatthefnu. Later, everybody.